Today we've got our very first themed interview. So, although it's a Wednesday, not a Sunday, we've got with us Miss Barker, as she was when she joined the school, Mrs. Miller, as she left, and Paul Harrison, who, as he was when he joined the school, left it, rejoined it, and left it again. And they're going to tell us their memories, we hope, some humorous, some serious, no doubt, about the school ski trip that Droitwich High School ran for so many years. Was it Dave Mills?
Yeah, Dave Mills was running a ski trip when I first started at Droitwich, and he had got a spare place on it. He hadn't sold them all. So I actually asked, can I come along and pay? So my very first school skiing trip was as a student, in effect, because I was paying to go. And I made certain that they had to look after me as a student. I was awful. I played up. That was my first trip. And then after that, next year we got more and more kids wanting to go. So we started doing them on an annual basis, and we carried on doing it. But the numbers grew, and they were regularly in the 40s. I was going to say, Anne, it was that kind of number when you joined us, wasn't it?
Yeah. I joined 1981.
Do you remember us winding the children up, or was this before you joined us? Going to Italy for the first time. Most of these kids hadn't gone to Italy, and to be honest, in fact, I hadn't been to Italy until this time. And we started telling them about spaghetti harvest, and told them to look out the coach windows before we got too far up the mountain. Looking for the spaghetti harvest, because it must be nearly ripe. It's about the right time, but you've got to look at the lower slope before the coach gets up the hill too far.
And a lot of them believed you as well, Paul. They were so good.
Yes, yeah. You were one of them, I think, actually, Anne.
No.
We certainly had some great times. And one of the things that really struck me in the first few trips that I did was how levelling it was. Because, yes, this was only the second time in my life I'd had skis on my feet. Many of these kids had skis on their feet one or two times, and quite a few the first time. What a beautiful leveller it was. We were all struggling together. And that brought us and the children closer together.
I mean, I went mine was the first time. I'd never skied before either. And so I was in lessons with the kids. We just had so much fun, didn't we? I mean, in the days when there weren't all these regulations like there are these days when you take people out of school, Did we do a risk assessment, Paul?
Not that I know.
So go on then. So how many ski trips did you go on, Anne?
I went from 81 till 85, and 85 is when I left to have Jodie. So there's 1981, 82, 83, 84, 5. Okay. And the first one was without Andy. And the second time we went, we were allowed to take spouses. So Deb was the physio. I don't know what Andy was there for, but...
to give Deb work. Yeah. By fetching him out on the slopes.
Well, the first time Andy had never skied, so we took him to the top of the mountain and just said, "Right, come on, follow us," and that's how he learned to ski. And he's always been a bit of a bomber ever since.
I remember on one of those trips when Andy was with us and Deb, that we'd been off piste a few times while the children were in lessons. Yeah. And there's this one bit we're daring each other to go down, but this is the blokes looking at it from the top and that's too dangerous. So while we were standing there on one occasion, Deb and yourself went straight down it.
Yeah.
Of course, we looked at each other and thought, we gotta go.
Yeah. Deb was the lead, wasn't she? She was the man all the time. And then, of course, Mr. Coke joined us the year after that, wasn't it?
All right, Anne.
Yes, thank you. We've just been talking about you, Rob.
Yeah, Anne was just saying that you always had all the right gear when we went skiing. Yeah, no idea.
Still got it up the loft, yeah.
Robert, what do you remember of your first ski trip? You would have flounced along with all the right gear, all the right names, and did you ski?
I'd been skiing once when I was about 13, when I was at school. I was basically learning from scratch, and it was at Gaspaggio. And I had a red CNA jacket with a blue and white stripe across. I had some baggy salopettes.
I'd have no idea what I wore on any of these trips.
Found these.
Oh, yeah, I've still got those up the attic, yeah.
Look how young he looks there.
Oh, yeah. Christ, that's me at Lord's there at Robert's holding.
That's Paul with his wife, Deb. We used to sunbathe at lunchtime. And this is a bit blurred. They're really old photos. Can you remember doing the caterpillar, Paul?
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy, they really hurt your legs, that did.
We did Gaspaggio, Marileva twice.
Anderlecht.
There was a finale. I done, but I did it with Buck. I remember some very expensive ice creams in Verona one afternoon.
Oh, yes, the strawberries and then like a Knickerbocker Glory type thing.
A little pizza. And it was ridiculous. Cost of a house, an arm and a leg. I remember that.
Can you remember some of the children? Can you remember Simon Teagle?
That's a name that rings a bell.
That's you with him.
That's it. I remember that. Yeah, that must have been the 2nd or 3rd year because I've now got a better top on there. And
that's me looking on. Look, I think that's when the caterpillar collapsed.
Yeah. A pile of body and skis.
Talking of old students, I'm still in contact with Nigel Mapp, and he's got his own ski chalet now in Switzerland. And Kevin Hedges, who was a bit later, he's my house captain. He lives in America now, so he's taking it further. Then a bit after your time, when we were with Buck and Stewksbury, but people like Ali Briley, Liz Worley. So it was all in the days when we let the students have a drink if they wanted to, as long as they were sensible about it.
Yeah.
Which you're not allowed to do now.
Patrolled the corridors, didn't we? And check the bedrooms at night. And can you remember when we found the lads hiding in the girls' ensuite bathroom? Yeah, they said they were plumbers or something.
Good excuse, yeah. Credit where credit's due.
Funniest story I've got. We did one with to France, Les Orr with Buck and Stooks, and it was when Ian Botham was doing his walk with the elephant across the Alps, and he was doing it at a low level. And we told the students, because you forget what the date is on holiday. And April Fool, we told them the night before at briefing that Ian Botham would be coming past with his elephant down the bottom of the village at 6 o'clock the next morning because he was just down the valley. And we got up at 6 o'clock and it was blowing a blizzard, and about 15 sixth formers were just forcing their way into this white-out blizzard to go and see Ian Botham at 6 in the morning. And they came back at breakfast. I said, was he there? And they said, no, we must have missed him. We never told them. Never told him. I can remember Paul as well. We had Teagle putting butter on the bottom of his skis one Easter as well because he said it didn't prove the. He said he hadn't got any wax, if you remember.
Yeah, we hadn't got any wax, so you put some butter on, it'll work great.
Yeah, saw them all nicking it off the breakfast table the next day. Yeah.
Can you remember that girl that just, as she set off, she started screaming and she never stopped?
I remember you telling me about it. It was before my time.
So it's been wonderful to see you, Anne. Thank you so much for joining us. Paul, thank you, and we'll be in touch shortly. Robert, great that you could actually manage the technology in the end. It's been brilliant. Thank you for your recollections. Stay safe, stay sane. All the best.